Are you ready for block number 3 of my weekly sew along, a flower bouquet? It's all about gardens and flowers and maybe some other things throw in that, sort of relate to all of that. I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my neighborhood here in my studio. I'm doing block number 3. That's today's block, and it is called the Planting Guide. Got the papers here, so you can go, I've got all the links, you can go and download it. You have a couple patterns going to walk you through, and then you have this guide. I want to remind you that I am giving you directions for both cutting with the Gemini die cut dies and regular ruler cutting like I always do. So the ruler cutting, it says ruler, and then the dies are on the other side. So you can do it either way. I'm really having fun with my die cut machine, and I thought the best way to really know and understand any new equipment is to use it. And so I'm doing lots of my things with the die cut machine, and I'm walking you through during these blocks for a flower bouquet, showing you segments of cutting the blocks. The first 2, I pretty much showed you all the blocks. I showed you showed you all the pieces and showed you the block. From this point forward, I'm going to do segments, do parts of it. So today I want to concentrate on a big shape for the middle. So let's take a look. So the middle, I've got this big unit in here, which is 6.5 by 6.5, and then we're going to do squares and sew and flip for the 4 corners. So that is our goal today. Let's take a look at the fabrics. Each time I give you gray scale on the pattern, and then I show you, you'll see my photo then. You'll see my photo of my block. But for the pattern, I give you the gray scale because then you can use whatever you have. If you're following along with my fabric bundle, I am doing this floral for the middle, and the corners in the center and on the outer corners will be this sort of baskety, weavy kind of beige. And then I will be using there we go, the white and the green for the small squares. So there are several squares for the Gemini. Let's take a look. I've got them all out and ready to go. Our dies come in the box. If you bought the Build-A-Block, that's what I'm using. And so for this project, I need the 6.5 square for the middle. I need the 3.5. I need a 2, and then a 3.5 triangle. So I put them all in the lid to here. I just pick it up and put it inside. This is the paper guide. That way I can see them really easily. They don't get lost. These are small and light, so it's possible, that they could get misplaced under something. Okay. What I want to do is talk about fussy cutting and how to look at your bigger piece here and get an image that you want. Just like fussy cutting with a ruler, when you use the die cut machine, you can see everything, which is so awesome for placement when you're using the Gemini. I just love that. It is so easy to see what I'm doing. So because I will be doing corners, here, let's mock that up. So if I'm going to be sewing corners on here, that is what the block has. So let's go a little closer because I'm going to mock up where I'm doing things. This see, there's corners. So I want to be sure my flower is kind of in the middle. So whichever one I pick, and I don't want to get too close to the edge that I run off. I don't want to get the die slipping and get off like that. So if I'm going to have that in the middle, maybe I want to pick one from a different place if I really want to be careful, because I'm not sure I can get it centered as well. And I'm not like 100% like crazy about the centering, I find that it is more beneficial to be a little generous. Okay, so if I'm mocking up the corner, it would be like this and this, because this one's upside down now. If I'd used this one, you were looking at it right side up because they're tossed. Some are up, some one way, some are the other, but it's not going to matter for here. So this is what I want. Because when you run this through die cut, I'm just doing one layer of fabric. I do not want to fold the fabric over top to run it through the machine because it will cut through the top. There's just so much pressure that it'll cut through the top layer, so we don't want to do that. So I just want a single layer of fabric. So I am going to just make sure that I have just this. And fussy cutting is like this. If you want to fussy cut, you have to respect that or expect that you're going to have to manipulate the fabric a little bit. Okay, I will now sandwich this into the shims. And let me talk you through the shims again, just in case you're new at this. We have two really these sort of clear, very hard plastic ones. One goes on the bottom and one will go on the top of the sandwich. Those are the outside pieces. And they're the same, so that will help you remember. Then we're doing fabric, so you want to do the metal. And this is what they look like, because there's a lot of pressure that this die here is pushing down. So, and you want to rotate these. You always rotate these, because you do not want to keep cutting in the same spot, or you will use up these very fast. You want to move it around. Yes, and it makes noise. So here is my unit. I'm going to put it there, and I will just sort of put this around the edge. You know, it'll just kind of go through. You know, it's gonna, I'm not gonna leave it hang out there, but I don't want it on top, because it'll slice it. So there's what I'll do. Then I put the other plastic on top of this, the middle plastic, and then the top plastic. Okay, now we go to the machine. Here it is. So I will take this sandwich, and as soon as it starts going through the machine and grabs, then I will let go. Oop, I slid it there a little bit. Check my die is still on the fabric. It is. Here we go. So everything needs to be, I'm gonna go in, then take my hands off. It's grabbed it. It's gonna be pushing it. There you go. You can hear that. So that is, these are really thick, so it is coming through and cutting. I know, it's loud. You get used to it. Sometimes it's louder than other times. All right, and here we go. Here is the block. One layer. Whoops, sorry. There we go. So we have, this is just cutting one layer. Now generally we're cutting more than one layer, but sometimes like this, we only need one of these. The next thing we're going to do is cut more than one layer. So get you organized here. So I'm going to put this on the design board. I love these design boards, and I've already cut some of the squares that go all the way around. Remember, this is the pattern. So I've already done some of the squares will be white, and then I'm going to have squares in the green, right? So like this. So the chain around it will be white and green. And now what I need to do is cut the squares to do this. When you're doing the outer pieces here, these are half square triangles that you'll cut with this unit when you're doing die cutting. So that's just like previous blocks. But today I'm just going to show you going with the squares here. Okay, let's move this over. My trusty side. Now what I'm going to do is, do you see like these skinny strips? I am going to do some string blocks. I'm saving these, and not today, but not for this post, but I'm going to do some string blocks. So maybe we can make a pillow that coordinates with our quilt. It'll be so cute. Or table runner with string blocks. I just think it is going to be darling. All right, now for the squares. We need the die that is 3.5, and I need 4 of them for the 4 corners of the block. So they have, the block would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can just fold these. I cut a strip, so it's a little bit smaller to deal with. And now there's 4 layers. I've got, there's 1, 2, and then, you know, they're folded over 3, 4. You do want to watch the salvage edge. Can you see that? Right, so there's a salvage edge on there, and you want to be sure you're not catching that. So if you really want to be careful, I would now flip this over so I can see it on this top side and know that I'm not including it in my block. So remember, the block has, these dies have the seam allowance included too. Okay, so did I rotate my foil? No. My metal tin here? No, I did not. I did not rotate it. Now you need to rotate not only the foil, but where you position things. And you don't have to keep it, like, it doesn't have to be any particular way. It doesn't have to be straight. If I can angle it if I want to, but that gives an even distribution of the pressing down. And remember, there is a ridge side and a smooth side. So you want to put the ridge side down. Okay, now I will take the middle plastic sheet and the top plastic. And then we'll go over to the machine again and put it through. So we'll cut these, die cut these 4 squares to use in the middle for the four blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then these are all sew and flip. So they'll be done sew and flip style. Now when I'm doing, okay, let's look at this. Take off the top and the middle plastic, and here are the dies. The dies cut, and they just pull right out. So I have all 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Now there are also now some new nice strips for my string quilt. Got some more string quilts, but now this section here is very, very usable. If I open this up, right, I have this whole big piece still to use. So I'm going to keep that for a future block. Now when I was doing the squares, the little squares, here's what I have. You know, so if you really want to keep, you know, some of this for string blocks, you can. There's some little pieces there. Now this is usable, so I still have that to keep for a regular block. And when I'm working with sew and flip, they float just a little tiny bit, so you'll be sewing diagonally. Let's bring this down here. You'll be sewing diagonally across and then flipping up like here, and then trim the back, and the directions are all in the pattern, and then you'll be doing the other one. Now you can audition. Here's another tip for you. You know, this is a directional fabric. Can you see the way I auditioned this? They're going 2 different directions. Okay, so you can decide, well, do I like them going this way or do I like them going this way? Let's say you like them sideways. Well, then that means for this piece, you should rotate it. So if I rotate it and now audition, nope, rotate it, now audition, there we go. Now they're going the same direction. And that is how you can check directional fabric to be sure that it's going the way you want it to go. Okay, one more little thing. I have a little mock-up over here that I want to show you. When I do this sew and flip, it's not quite up at the 1/4 of an inch. So when you sew that across, you're going to have a little, you know, it won't be a point. It'll probably be a little bit more open, which is how I designed it. On the drawing, it's a little over exaggerated like this, but I'm not making it so it's pointy. Just so you know, that's the way I did it. So just a little, it's going to be just a little flat there on the top like this, which I like because then we're not trying to match all those little points. Okay. Whoop. We are going to, I'm really excited about this block. I actually give you touring around my studio here. I give you a layout also to do the block in repeat. That is the last page, or second to last page. The last page of the pattern also has a coloring diagram, because people have told me they enjoy being able to like get out some markers and just sort of mock up some colorations on the diagram. It's easy for me to put it in, and you don't have to use it, but it's there if you want it. And I hope you are excited about block number 3. I am super excited about it. I will now go and sew it, because I am die cutting this block live for you, or live or prior for you, and then I will sew it. So you'll see the picture on my site, and I probably will have another couple of photo step outs of the block in in construction. It's just a couple. So anyway, this is an easy block. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my neighborhood. Join me at Facebook on my neighborhood there, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, and I will catch up with you online. Bye-bye.